So our first story comes from Stipe Miocic, who has a message for Daniel Cormier and all his critics. Now, a bit of context first. Stipe has said in the past that he's unable to train because of his gym being closed from the pandemic, as well as being a first responder firefighter. Now, speaking of MMA fighting, Stipe says he's not holding up any division and tells Daniel Cormier to stop crying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what people want from me. Everyone's like, you need to hold division. I'm like, how am I holding up division? And he's like, other guys are saying like, well, we can train. Well, good for you. You live in a different state. You have different regulations. But like, my coach, like, no joke, he shut his gym down. No, he didn't take any dues. Like, he just straight, like, no one's paying anything because like he's like, it's not fair to everyone. So anyways, they have like a bunch of stuff outside the gym, and like a couple people, I think it was like 5 or 6 people, I have no idea, we're working out just together. They're even 6 feet apart, and someone saw that, reported it, and they got cited by the CDC. So that's how strict they are. So like, everyone can just shut up because they're idiots. Yeah, apparently I'm not a champ, so I mean, he wants to call his own shots. Whatever, dude. I think everyone else talking to, saying I'm a vacate or defend. I'm like, Jesus, like, whatever. Like, I can't make anyone happy or everyone happy. I don't care at this point. Like, stop crying.
Our next story comes from Dana White, who went on ESPN to confirm that Ngannou versus Jones will not be happening. Here's the clip.
John Jones versus Ngannou?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously that's a fight that people would love to see, and these guys are talking a lot of smack back and forth. I don't see that fight happening.
Now, on the topic of John Jones, speaking to John Morgan, John Jones says he feels hurt about the UFC unwilling to pay him for the Ngannou fight. He said, "We never had a serious talk about heavyweight, but in the few times that we had, they made it clear to me that when I'm ready to go to heavyweight, that's when we can come back to the table and talk about paying me those life-changing fight numbers." John Jones, Stipe Miocic, super fight. Daniel Cormier, super fight. Francis Ngannou is a super fight. Even if he didn't want to change my contract, the fact that they didn't sign me up for a one-fight deal to fight a guy that's 40 pounds bigger than me, the scariest dude on the planet, Francis Ngannou, the guy that nobody wants to fight, I'm willing to fight him while being smaller than him, and you're not going to pay me $1 more? You mean to tell me that this fight isn't worth anything more than me stepping in against Jan Blachowicz? It's just insulting. Everyone would love to see me take this risk, and they offered me zero upside. As a partner, it was always very clear that my best days would be when I moved to heavyweight, but now they shit on all that, and I'm hurt, to be honest with you. Our next story comes from Justin Gaethje. Speaking to Brett Okamoto, Justin Gaethje explains how he will train for his upcoming fight against Khabib and says that the key is all in his legs and the cardio.
I mean, I'll do it the same exact way that I've done it for every single fight. I will work to be my best self. I'm so athletic. The biggest factor, the first thing to go when you get tired is your legs. So my legs, from now until then, I'm going to be running a lot, jump roping a lot of aerodyne, a lot of step ups, a lot of squats. My legs, if my legs are in shape, I don't get tired. And if I don't get tired, then I can get back up. And if I can get back up, then I can hit him. And if I can hit him, I hit like a truck. I only got to kick him, 8 times in the calf before he's compromised. There's a lot of factors, there's a lot of things, but I'm going to work on being me, staying in shape. It's all cardio.
Our next story comes from Colby Covington. Speaking to Mike Heck, Covington explains why his fight with Woodley fell through.
To be honest, Mike, the real reason we didn't get this fight is because the UFC didn't want to give him the fight. The thing is his last fight, he looks so washed up, Mike. The UFC wants to see if he has anything left in the tank, so they want to see if he can prove himself to earn the losing ass-whooping paycheck to me. So, this is a test by the UFC that, they're making him fight some kid named Dilbert. No one even knows who Dilbert is. So, we'll see if he passes that test and he can earn this ass-whooping losing paycheck to me. But, who knows, man? I mean, he's doing a lot of things out there. He's trying to rap. I mean, he's hurting people's ears, dude. He's a freaking dork.
Our next story comes from Dana White. Speaking on ESPN, Dana explains why he made Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns, and he says that this will be a fun fight.
Yeah, I mean, as things started to fall apart and we continued to, figure out who still wanted to fight, when we were trying to pull off the April 18th card in California, we were still looking at other fights. Obviously, we got it together. We went to Florida. We pulled 3 cards out, and we got back in the office here on Monday, and then Tuesday we had our matchmaking meeting to figure out the rest of June. And then, but the Woodley Burns match is a fight that we really wanted to make. Gilbert Burns has been on an absolute tear. He's undefeated at this weight since he went to 170. He's 3-0. He's got 8 wins by submission, 6 by knockout, 10 first-round finishes, and beat Damian Maia. which is a big deal. So, this kid's on fire right now. Him and Woodley should be fun.
Our next story comes from Daniel Cormier, who reacts to Justin Gaethje saying that Conor lost his clout and that he doesn't want to fight him. Speaking on the DC and Helwani show, Cormier says Conor is still the biggest star in the sport and has not lost any of his clout.
Justin Gaethje is now the pretty girl at the prom. Right? He's the pretty girl at the prom. Everybody wants a piece of her. And Conor's calling his name. This was something he asked for years and got ignored, right? Got big league. So now he's trying to do the same thing. But no, Conor has not lost his clout. Conor is he's still the biggest star in mixed martial arts and extremely talented. And if he doesn't fight Justin Gaethje, whoever he fights is going to be a massive deal. And then eventually he'll fight the champ. But you have to take a lot of things at face value. But good for Justin, right? Good for Justin playing the game. Like, all these guys now seem to understand the game, and he's playing the game with Conor. But I see what he's saying, though, right? Like, for years I was asking you. But now it's so crazy that you're asking me.
Right.
So you've lost a little bit of that shine that you may have had, but that's not the truth at all.
Our next story comes from Uriah Hall. Uriah was booked to fight Jacare at UFC Jacksonville, but that fight fell through after Jacare tested positive for COVID-19. Now, speaking on the UFC Unfiltered podcast, Uriah Hall has lost interest in a fight with Jacare and wants to fight Yoel Romero next instead.
I mean, I spoke to my coaches and, we're staying ready. My plan was this. I finished the fight. I'm in Las Vegas and I was in the transition of moving. I was like, let me move in June. That way I have enough time to get situated. Now I have to kind of do both. I have to look for a fight while I'm moving. So it kind of put me in a cluster, but I spoke to my coach. He's like, hey, take a couple weeks off. Let's figure out a thing. Let's get a place in Dallas and then we'll move out there. But if they call me, I'm good to go. I'm out here. I'm still staying ready. I hope the Performance Institute could open up and I can stay busy. But I'm ready, man. I think Jacare said he's feeling better or whatever. And I'm like, I'm probably over that shit. So I'm like,
go ahead.
I'll fight Yoel. I'm trying to get the easy. So I'm like, I'll fight Yoel right now. Yoel ain't doing nothing. Came off a 4-loss. I'm sure the UFC is like, we don't want to book Yoel because he's probably gonna be bored. I'm like, I'm coming after that motherfucker. Fuck that. So I'll come after him.
Our next story comes from Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Speaking to MMA Crazy, Thompson says he wants to fight twice this year and hopes to return in July.
Definitely. I like to fight in May or July. That's just kind of like my goal that I shoot for every year. I try to fight in either May or June, and then hopefully no injuries. I mean, when you're getting closer to 40, you start kind of backing off a little bit. I try not to do 3 fights a year, maybe 2 at the most. I mean, I'm ranked number 5 at this point and fought some of the best guys in the division. So just want to stay healthy and try and get that May or June fight or November fight in. So I try and get 2 in a year if I can.
Our next story comes from Gilbert Burns. Speaking on the Believe You Me podcast, Gilbert goes into detail and breaks down the matchup against Tyron Woodley.
Like you said, he's very strong, very explosive, very athletic guy, very strong. He has all his credentials in wrestling. He's not been using his wrestling that much in the fights, being taken down a couple times, and I believe I gotta take his power away, to be honest. I gotta put a lot of pressure in the beginning, for sure keep my hands up, but he allows me, if he always allows people to put pressure. He likes to back away a little bit, then get explosive. And I want to explore that. I want to put a lot of pressure on him since the beginning, But I see myself making him tired. I see that I can grapple this guy for sure. He's very strong, very athletic, but so do I too, bro. I'm a monster here too. I'm looking forward.
Yep.
No crazy weight cut. Bro, I'm looking forward to test myself with these guys. I know he's a tough fight, but I like the matchup. I like that he's a wrestler. I'm a grappler. I want him to try to take me down. It's not easy, but even if he does, boom, we're home right now. We're gonna work. Even my back on the floor, I'm very excited to see if he's gonna do it and I show my potential or my jiu-jitsu. Even my back on the floor. You guys saw a little bit with Daniel Maia, took me down, pulled right back up, took my back, boom, escaped it. So I can't wait to grapple with these guys. But I got my new toys right here too. That, bro, if he blinking his eyes, I'm gonna knock him out too. So I'm confident with the matchup, and I visualize myself in a lot of bad spots too. I know I can get in a lot of bad spots. I can get hurt, but guess what? I'm gonna keep on going, and I believe I'm gonna be the winner of this fight.
That about wraps up the video for today. If you made it this far, I thank you for watching. Have a great day and peace.